Good morning. It's Monday, December 26th, and this is a Fox News alert. Shocking news from Hollywood. Breaking overnight. Pop star George Michael has died.
Yes, I gotta have faith.
The 53-year-old Grammy Award winner dying on Christmas Day. The reaction from Hollywood now pouring in.
Walmart is pulling this controversial clothing line after a police protest, but one retail giant is now refusing to do the same. The outrage is boiling over.
Alfie, what did that Clary give you? Show everybody.
When you're sleeping, he knows when you're awake.
I don't want to.
Now, did this happen to you, Lisa? The return, it's on. The rush for that. If not every present under your tree was perfect, mine was.
It was. Thank you, Mom and Dad. Good job.
We have the stores with the best and worst return policies for you. Fox and Friends First starts right now.
Wake me up before you go. Don't leave me hanging on like a yo-yo. Wake me up before you go. I don't wanna miss it when you hit that high. Wake me up before you go. 'Cause I'm not planning on going solo. Wake me
Good morning. You are watching Fox and Friends First on this Monday morning, and I'm Lisa Booth.
I'm Jackie Ibanez in for Heather Childers. Thank you for starting your day after Christmas with us. Hope you're having a good one.
We start with a Fox News alert and the shocking death of 80s and 90s pop icon George Michael.
The former Wham frontman's manager said overnight that he passed away peacefully on Christmas Day due to heart failure. The Grammy winner sold more than 100 million albums with hits like Wake Me Up Before You Go Go, which I heard right when we started the show here. It was over a career that spanned 4 decades.
Wake me up before you go. Don't leave me hanging on like a yo-yo. Wake me
And he went on to a skyrocketing solo career, releasing dozens of mega hits like Careless Whisper and Faith.
But I need someone to hold me if I wait for something more.
Yes, I gotta have faith.
And tributes pouring in for the music legend overnight. Elton John writing, quote, "I'm in deep shock. I've lost a beloved friend, the kindest, most generous soul, and a brilliant artist. My heart goes out to his family, friends, and all of his fans." And former Wham bandmate Andrew Ridgeley writing this, "Heartbroken at the loss of my beloved friend Yog. Me, his loved ones, his friends, the world of music, the world at large, forever loved." And singer Boy George writing, "He was so loved, and I hope he knew it, because his sadness today is beyond words. Devastating. What a beautiful voice he had, and his music will live on. As a testament to his talent, I can't believe he is gone." And a live look right now outside Michael's home in London, where he passed away. A somber scene. You can see people there are going to gather a little bit later. Michael is 53 years old.
Russia now says pilot error or technical fault is likely to blame for a military plane crashing into the Black Sea. All 92 people on board are confirmed dead in this Christmas tragedy. Rescue crews searching through the night for victims and debris near the coast of Sochi. Mourners paying tribute to the victims at a vigil in Sochi last night. The plane was carrying military personnel, a well-known army choir, and reporters to a Russian airbase in Syria.
It was a white Christmas for many, but with it comes bitter cold, harsh winds, and dangerous driving conditions like these right here, right now. Blizzard warnings cover much of the northern plains. North and South Dakota expecting up to 15 inches of snow and 55-mile-per-hour winds. The blast of sleet, snow, and rain expected to make holiday travel extremely treacherous. Long stretches of highways shut down in several states because right now they're just simply too slippery. The wicked weather causing scattered flight delays for millions of travelers heading home after the holiday. So if that's you, be sure to check your flight before heading to the airport.
Now turning to politics, President Obama slammed at the National Menorah lighting ceremony, a rabbi furious over his decision not to stop a UN vote against Israeli settlements. This as tensions grow between the president and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Kristen Fisher is live in Washington, D.C. with the latest. Kristen, what's going on here?
Hey, good morning, Lisa. Well, tensions between the U.S. and Israel had really been rising ever since the U.S. refused to block that UN resolution condemning Israeli settlements in the West Bank. But things really escalated even more overnight when the rabbi in charge of the National Hanukkah menorah lighting, which is held right outside the White House, used this ceremony to publicly criticize the Obama administration's actions.
I know that some of us are so sad at what happens there with regard to Israel. We must remember that the way to counter any darkness, any disappointment, is not with harsh rhetoric, not with anger, but by creating light.
Now, yesterday, Israel's government accused the Obama administration of not only refusing to block the UN resolution, but also creating and campaigning for its passage.
We have rather ironclad information from sources in both the Arab world and internationally that this was a deliberate push by the United States, and in fact they helped create the resolution in the first place. And so it's deeply disappointing that this has been the path of President Obama.
So the Israelis say they have ironclad information that the U.S. was behind it, but the White House is countering that. They're firing back by saying, quote, the U.S. did not draft this resolution, nor did the U.S. introduce the resolution. The Egyptians, in partnership with the Palestinians, are the ones who began circulating an earlier draft of the resolution. But at the same time, the U.S. did refuse to use its veto power at that Security Council vote. President-elect Trump said the big loss yesterday for Israel in the United Nations will make it much harder to negotiate peace. Too bad, but we will get it done anyway. So a change in U.S. policy ushered in by a change in administrations is exactly what the Israeli Prime Minister is now banking on. Lisa and Jackie?
Thank you, Kristen.
Thank you so much.
President-elect Donald Trump taking steps to shut down his charity to avoid any possible conflicts of interest. But it's not enough for some Democrats.
Kelly Wright also live in our nation's capital this morning with all the new drama. Kelly, good morning.
Jackie and Lisa, good morning to you as well. President-elect Trump is attempting to distance himself away from what ethics experts say could become a potential ethical conflict. The president-elect issued a Christmas Eve announcement that shows his effort to untangle his presidency from any conflict with his charitable Donald J. Trump Foundation. In a statement, Mr. Trump states, because I will be devoting so much time and energy to the presidency and solving the many problems facing our country and the world, I don't want to allow good work to be associated with a possible conflict of interest. But Democrats are very critical of Mr. Trump's effort. Eric Walker of the DNC states Mr. Trump's foundation announcement is a wilted fig leaf to cover up his remaining conflicts of interest and his pitiful record of charitable giving. Walker goes on to slam the Trump Foundation, citing how there have been reports of Trump using the foundation as a slush fund, buying portraits of himself, attacking political enemies, and accusations of attempting to bribe elected officials. Mr. Trump defends his charity, stating this: the foundation has done enormous good works over the years in contributing millions of dollars to countless worthy groups, including supporting veterans, law enforcement officers, and children. In the Wall Street Journal, Richard Painter, who served as chief White House ethics lawyer under former President George W. Bush, applauds Mr. Trump's move, saying it is a step in the right direction. Back to you.
Kelly Wright, live in our nation's capital this morning. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you, Kelly.
Well, President Obama thanking troops for their service on Christmas in his last address to them as Commander-in-Chief.
I just want all of you to know that it has been the privilege of my life to serve as your Commander-in-Chief.
The president going on to say that as a citizen, he'll remain grateful for them and jokingly reminded them that he still has access to the golf course at the Hawaiian Marine Corps base. You can see the crowd looking less than riveted during the president's final Christmas tribute to the troops.
In just hours from now, Pope Francis will deliver the Angelus prayer after sending a wish of peace in his annual Christmas Day Mass. Close to 40,000 people lining up at St. Peter's Square for the Pontiff's Sunday service. He urged people around the globe to remember migrants, refugees, and those living in poverty. He also pressed for a negotiated solution to the Syrian war.
Well, look at this. Prince George stealing the show as the royal family heads to Christmas Mass. He's such a cutie. Dressed in his Sunday best, the young royal enjoying a candy cane as only a young royal would. As he walks alongside his parents and little sister, Princess Charlotte. Queen Elizabeth, she is still sick with a cold, missing church, but still sending out her annual Christmas message saying small acts of goodness inspire people. It's a great message. It's the first time the Queen has missed Christmas Mass in nearly 30 years. We wish her well.
And a Merry Christmas from the Bush family. Jenna Bush Hager sending out this sweet photo from the family's Texas ranch. She captioned it, "My whole crew wishing you love this Christmas." Former President George W. Bush, his wife Laura, and daughter Barbara joined the Hager clan on Christmas Eve.
Oh, that's a cute photo.
So cute.
All right, well, the time is now 8 after the hour. He harassed Ivanka Trump until they kicked him right off the plane.
Uh-oh.
Is it a bad idea to do it in front of everyone's kids? Taking you guys are Hillary supporters?
I love how he had a lot to say on the plane, but all of a sudden he had nothing to say to the media.
Might have the tables turned.
Karma strikes. Those tables really have turned on the professor, angry about the election. You got to hear this.
Actress Carrie Fisher suffering a massive heart attack right before Christmas. The huge update on her overnight condition.
And what happens when you refuse to shave until your team wins a game? Sure, it's pretty itchy. Looks a little something like this. But not for long, the big victory for this weatherman and his Cleveland Browns.
But first, as we head to a break, a look at some of your Christmas pictures.
Santa her list.
Hopefully he's checking it twice.
We want to wish you a very Merry Christmas. With a ho, ho, ho and a kiss beneath the shiny mistletoe. And just remember the reason for the season is to spread goodwill.
That's a shot of Midtown Manhattan on this manic Monday. A lot of returns, I'm sure, to be had on this day after Christmas. Thanks for joining us. It's now 14 after the hour. School shootings have become a disturbing reality. Now one college is arming professors to help stop an active shooter, and a sheriff's department is helping make it all happen. Police officers in Polk County, Florida, will train faculty at Southeastern University to carry concealed weapons. It includes completing 100 hours of firearm safety. Professors will also need to pass background checks and drug tests.
The only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. Our goal is to give them shock and awe before they can deliver shock and awe.
And coming up on Fox and Friends, Southeastern University President Dr. Ken Engel will tell us more about the program.
And Amazon is still selling this controversial Black Lives sweatshirt. Even after the nation's largest police union has complained, the words "Bulletproof Black Lives Matter" splashed across the front. The Fraternal Order of Police sending Amazon a letter condemning it last week. But as of this morning, it's still available on the website. Walmart has pulled the shirt after the officers complained. He was kicked off a JetBlue plane for harassing Ivanka Trump.
Can I just ask if you regretted it all, man? Was it a bad idea to do it in front of everyone's kids?
But Jackie, might have the tables turned. Matthew Lasner's book, High Life, is getting bombarded by one-star reviews on Amazon by fans of the President-elect Trump's daughter. One person writing, the author seemed angry, bitter, and probably received participation medals throughout life and never learned how to deal with failure. Awesome. Lasner's husband, Daniel Goldstein, reportedly told Ivanka her father was ruining the country and she should be flying private.
You know, Lisa, that's what we call karma.
Yeah, seriously.
Well, Christmas may be over and the gifts may be unwrapped, but there is still someone who needs a miracle this holiday. Jessica Scott is fighting a grueling uphill battle as her 12-year medical struggle rages on. She's on life support, fighting kidney failure and multiple infections from her second double lung transplant after doctors found a hole in her heart. You can help Jessica's family this holiday by donating to her GoFundMe page. Just search for Jessica Scott's Road to Recovery.
Prayers for her. Definitely. The time is now 5:16 on the East Coast, and after Josh Earnest's biggest beef for the last 8 years, we're going to get to that next.
Given the fact that President Obama has been the most transparent president in American history, and given the fact that he has not gotten much, if any, credit for that.
Apparently, we haven't been giving President Obama enough credit. What do you think?
And Christmas may be over, but Starbucks, everyone, is still giving. How to get your coffee for free this morning.
And first, a look at some of your Christmas pictures from over the weekend.
So cute.
Aww.
The Baron made Snoopy fly to the Rhine and forced him to land behind the enemy lines. Snoopy was certain that this was the end when the Baron cried out, "Merry Christmas!"
The most transparent president in history? That's apparently what the White House thinks of President Obama. Press Secretary Josh Earnest says Mr. Obama has responded to hundreds of thousands of Freedom of Information Act requests, but he hasn't gotten any credit. So he questions how transparent President-elect Donald Trump will be.
Given the fact that President Obama has been the most transparent president in American history, and given the fact that he has not gotten much, if any, credit for that from journalists, what incentive does a guy like Donald Trump, who I think has a predisposition against transparency when you consider the way that he handled his tax returns, what incentive, what argument does anybody have that there is a benefit for him to be more transparent?
But the interviewer here is questioning that claim, saying Mr. Obama has denied countless FOIA requests. The New York Times is using its Christmas editorial to hurl some major accusations at the right. The Times accusing Republicans of stealing a seat on the Supreme Court and saying that it should have been filled by President Obama. The column says, in part, it was stolen by top Senate Republicans who broke with long-standing tradition and refused to consider any nominee. Mr. Obama might send them because they wanted to preserve the court's conservative majority.
All right, thanks, Lisa. It's now 22 after the hour. They say it's the thought that counts, right? But some presidents, they just kind of miss the mark.
Alfie, what did that Clary give you show everybody?
When you're sleeping, he knows when you're away.
I don't want to.
That face does not lie. I love A Christmas Story. Here with tips on returning unwanted holiday gifts is Consumer Reports Money Team's Lauren Lyons-Cole. Good morning.
Good morning,
Merry
Jackie.
Christmas.
Thank you. Same to you.
Thanks for coming here. Okay, so let's chat about what to do and not to do when returning a gift this morning. Okay, do you open up the gift? Say, you got a pair of something you don't love.
So here's the thing. When you're returning a gift, you want to make sure that the packaging looks as though you haven't touched it. Even better, don't open it. But if you have, you want to put it all back together. Because if the retailer can't put it back on the shelf and sell it immediately, they could charge you a restocking fee of up to 15%. And that's the last thing. You don't want to lose money if you're returning a gift.
When you're returning it, what exactly do you need? Do you need the receipt or a gift receipt, your license, what?
Yeah, well, it depends a lot on the retailer. Definitely bring in the receipt if you have it, because you're more likely to get the credit, to get the refund right away. A lot of stores these days are requiring your ID as well, because they don't want you to, be fraudulently returning any sort of item. So you want to bring your ID, have that with you, have the receipt if you have it, and a smile, right? I mean, it always helps to come in a good attitude with the customer service.
That is so true. I hate to say it, but I usually try to spark up a conversation like, hey, how was your Christmas? Like your dress, and it goes a long way.
Yeah, they probably see it coming, but I think it's nice, right?
Yeah, but you know what? In today's hustle and bustle, people can be really mean and nasty.
Absolutely.
So that goes a long way.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the retailers that are easier to return items than some others.
Right. So depending on where you got that gift from, it's going to be easier depending on where you're going. Costco, of course, is a really easy.
We have a full screen here.
They don't require the receipts, so you can head over to Costco. For most items, bring it back. Makes it really easy. JCPenney, Bed Bath & Beyond, Kohl's. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know with Costco, we can literally return anything, and they give you a full refund, and that goes a long way for me as a consumer.
Right, it makes you feel much more valued. If
absolutely.
You can, that way you're more likely to shop there. I think it's a good policy.
What about the places that are hard to return items?
There's going to be a lot of places. Barnes & Noble, actually, you only have 2 weeks to return your item and get a full refund. Other ones that aren't good, Forever 21, if you're buying cute gifts this holiday season, Sears, Kmart, GameStop. These places, if you received a gift from there, you want to make sure to head out to the stores today. It will be crowded, but you might as well get a jump start on it.
So you think the best advice would be to head out as soon as you can to return that. You have 2 weeks, some of them you have 60 days, but your advice is get out there.
Yeah, another thing you can do, if you're not sure, if you do have the receipt, flip it over. A lot of times the policy will be on the back. Head to the retailer's website, if not, or give them a call, because you want to make sure you don't lose out on that return.
Okay, great. Lauren Lyon Cole, we appreciate you being here, and I hope everyone doesn't have a lot to return today. I'm sure everyone had great presents. All right, thank you so much. The time is now 25 after the hour. President Obama making his last stand.
President Obama is beginning to figure out that his legacy is like one of those dolls that as the air comes out of it, shrinks, and he's in this desperate frenzy.
The midnight specials he's been working on and the fears now being raised of last-minute regulations. Up next on Fox and Friends First. Don't go away.
It is Monday, December 26th, and this is a Fox News alert. Shocking news from Hollywood breaking overnight. Pop superstar George Michael has died.
Yes, I gotta have faith.
The 53-year-old Grammy Award winner dying on Christmas Day. The reaction from Hollywood is pouring in.
A TSA alert for you. The rules are changing where your license will no longer be accepted as a valid form of ID.
I just thought it would be funny to pull her over. She's kind of a nervous person.
And a police officer making Christmas one that his girlfriend will never forget. The traffic stop that will make your morning. Fox and Friends First continues right now. From Metro North Railroad. In September, his union said he was seeking the disability for PTSD brought on by the December 2013 incident. Prosecutors say he fell asleep at the controls, but they declined to prosecute him.
Thanks, Lisa. It's meant to keep Americans traveling safe. Soon millions are going to need more than just a driver's license to get through TSA security. People in 9 states, including Pennsylvania and South Carolina, will have to use a passport, military ID, or a resident card. Nearly a decade ago, the 9/11 Commission recommending the Real ID Act, making it harder for terrorists to use fake IDs, to switch starting in 2018.
Well, they're worth millions, so why are they collecting food stamps? Drug dealers, senators, and a millionaire with ties to Iranian royalty all are facing charges, accused of stealing our hard-working tax dollars each month in food stamps and welfare. The government reports about $70 million of our money was likely wasted this past year on fraud.
And Christmas may be over, but it's not too late to cash in on holiday treats from Starbucks. The coffee chain is offering free espresso drinks for 1 hour every day through January 2nd. 100 Starbucks stores a day are holding the pop-up cheer parties. It's from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. So mark a calendar. Locations, well, they change each day, so you'll have to be lucky. Check out Starbucks.com for a long list of where you can get that free espresso. And the presents are unwrapped, and the rush to return kicks off this morning.
Americans are expected to return $60 billion worth of unwanted Christmas presents this year. Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Melissa Edezia is live at Walmart in Secaucus, New Jersey, with the calm before the crush of all the people. Good morning.
Good morning to both of you. This last few weeks is all about buying gifts, spending, kind of being in the holiday cheer. Today, retailers are preparing for what's going to be, kind of like you said, the calm before the storm of a lot of people coming to spend the gift cards as well as to return the items that they got that they might not really like. Starting today, going for the first 2 weeks into January, there's going to be a huge rush for retailers. Now, in 2014, Americans returned $260 billion in merchandise. That is 66% up from just 5 years ago. More than 20% of all returns happen during the holiday season, which is roughly $60 billion, according to the National Retail Federation. And also interesting fact that not all things that you return actually make it back to the shelf. Total returns lead to 4 billion pounds of excess inventory. To give you a visual, that would fill 220,000 garbage trucks. Now, many brick and mortar stores are welcoming kind of a looser return policy because they're hoping that when you come into the store, you're going to end up spending more so than you would online. Before heading into the store, though, you should probably check to look and see if the return policy is a little bit more lenient. I know that Amazon is offering a lot of leniency in their return policy. I also read that Macy's is offering a 365-day return policy. So these are things that you should look into before you go into the store. It's going to be a rush. A lot of people are going to be coming in, spending their gift cards, returning what they want. Also something to note, the most commonly returned items are clothing, and then after that is electronics. So they're suggesting if you were looking for that electronic that you couldn't find, say the Amazon Fire Stick, which is a really hot item this year, you might be able to go to the store this morning and be able to find it. Send it back to you two in the studio.
So the most commonly returned, like you said, is clothes and then electronics. Can you imagine 365 days to return something? I would lose it at that point.
I won't be returning anything, so thank you, family. I appreciate that.
That's a good family. I shall
Very
not
good,
say if
yeah.
I'm returning anything or
if
not.
you're watching now.
All right, thanks, Melissa.
The time is now 5:53 on the East Coast, and mall brawls, so much for the holiday spirit.
Whoa.
The rowdy fights erupting across the country during last-minute shopping sprees.
Come on, people, what's going on?
It's Christmas.
And a seal on the loose. This is a much better story. The giant mammal who broke out for a little holiday stroll, then got on top of a car, and we'll give you the rest of that story.
But first, another look at some of your Christmas pictures.
Bushels of fun. Now the jingle hop has begun. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Jingle bells chime in jingle bell time. Dancing and prancing in Jingle Bell Square. In the frosty air. What a ride.
Good morning again. A quick look at your headlines. Brawls breaking out, of course, during last-minute Christmas shopping across the country. Security guards struggling to hold back fitting shops in New Jersey, where punches were actually flying. Two women coming to blows in an Alabama mall had to be separated by security. Meanwhile, a brazen robbery caught on camera at a Sprint store. You can see two men swiping cell phones and making a run for it. The theft part of a bigger problem in the South Florida area. The owner says 3 of his other stores were hit by burglars in recent months. Ooh, Abby.
Thank you, Ed. Well, tributes are pouring in this morning as the world mourns the shocking death of George Michael, the man behind mega hits like Last Christmas, Faith, and Wake Me Up Before You Go Go.
In home with the breaking details as people are getting used to the fact that he has passed away at the young age of 53. Willem.
That's right. I mean, this was a man who wrote his first hit age 17, Careless Whisper. So it's been nearly 40 years now at the top of his game in the pop world. Clearly a lot of people here in this area of North London very sad, coming to pay their respects to George Michael's super bearing in mind, of course, that he was involved in LGBT activism since he was outed as gay in the late 90s. He, over the years, has campaigned for children's charities, worked with Band-Aid to help famine victims in Ethiopia, made the first visit to China as part of the pop duo Wham. That was the first visit by a Western pop act to China in the mid-1980s, and more recently has secretly been giving millions of dollars to children's charities here in the UK. No surprise then, of course, people here coming to pay their respects at his home in this very nice part of North London, surrounded by other homes belonging to celebrities and artists, historic Highgate. It's where we are at the moment. A lot of people coming to leave flowers, cards, notes, candles. Very sad day in North London.
Hey, Willem, real quick, anything about the circumstances regarding his death? How he passed away? Was he sick for a while? Is he known to have a heart ailment or anything else going on?
Because he was so young.
So all we're getting in terms of information is from the local police up in Oxfordshire. That's about an hour and a half away from here, where he had a countryside home. His body was found at about 2 p.m. Ambulance was called there. Thames Valley Police saying they won't be releasing any details until after a post-mortem. What they have said is that the situation was unexplained but not suspicious. Obviously, back in 2011, George Michael very sick with pneumonia. You may remember he was treated in Austria for that. Said it was touch and go at the time. So as yet, no firm details on how he died.
All right, we'll keep following that one. Willem, live for us in northern London. Thank you, Willem. That is a question. A lot of people are wondering. 53 years old, so
Yeah,
young.
pretty young for.
What could have caused him to die at that age?
Right.
You know?
That's the whole thing. I guess we'll find out in the next one.
Professors here. That school's president coming up.
And wondering what to do with all those Christmas leftovers? Chef Mark Tafoya is here to show us how to make 5 tasty meals with just 1 ingredient. I saw the inner workings of this. I saw it all coming together. The stuff I know will be revealed.
But he ends up needing a little bit of help. Poor guy. He's trying so hard, though, Brian.
I know, you got to give him an A for effort. And here, I hope he's watching. And here's one you don't see every day. A rabbit, the other one you did, of course. A rabbit opening up a Christmas gift. Slowly but surely getting to the treat underneath its wrapped paper.
Wow.
And by the way, they'll actually use the wrappers as their bedding. Because it's still a lot of money.
It's just wrapping paper shredded up.
And check out this little canine. Spent Christmas Eve setting up a number of snacks for Santa and the reindeer before going to bed. He wakes up Christmas morning to find a stack of gifts waiting for him.
Stop.
If your pets loved opening up their presents too, send us your pictures and your video. friends@foxnews.com. Also love the music that gets bedded in there.
It's nice.
Like,
it adds a lot to it. That dog is so well behaved, though. It like put the neck on it himself.
I mean, how many animals are in our show? You would think it makes up most of our audience. I mean, we're actually.
It just might.
It could be. Hey, let's talk about Donald Trump. You know, because he is doing such a good job filling up his cabinet quicker than anyone else in modern times, it hasn't been a story. But there's only 2 vacancies.
Week 1, the New York Times said that he was woefully behind.
Woefully behind.
The whole thing was a disaster.
And President Obama says he doesn't even understand the job. And
a few weeks later, say, wow, wait, he's going too fast. Hold on.
But one thing that he has to his advantage, and you could argue that one of the main reasons why the evangelical community rallied around him was because of the number of court openings that were available and how he could shape the courts with a conservative school of thought. And he's got over 100 court vacancies right now, let alone the one Supreme Court position that's available.
Yeah, and there could be more because there's been a lot of talk about more retirements on the court. And as you were saying, that's why a lot of evangelicals who initially had reservations about Donald Trump really doubled down on him.
That's a great point. You made that point earlier in the commercial break of the vacancies and why that's so important for the court. And that is why so many people got out to vote, especially evangelicals. Really the reason why you could say that he ultimately won this election.
And one of the great things that make most
so good
of the cheese, because when they go up to be examined and cross-examined, and it's not going to go smooth in the best situation, you're there to question the new Secretary of Defense, Secretary of State. They're going to be tough, and there's going to be partisan. They're going to have protection teams to get the word out to try to let them know, here's the positive, here's how to spin it a little bit.
So we've talked about cabinet positions, vacancies on the court, but Newt Gingrich, who knows a thing or two about incoming administrations, being Speaker of the House at one point, he said that the biggest challenge for President-elect Donald Trump will maybe be changing the status quo. Here's what he said.
Everybody who comes into the city underestimates how really hard to change the city is. I say this as a former Speaker of the House who did a fair amount of change. Right. But boy, I mean, it was all uphill, it was all hard, and in the end it wore us out. They'll reach a crisis point where they got to look in a room at each other, they're all winners, and they're going to say either we've got to be more reasonable and get along with the city, or we have to become even more unreasonable and break the power structure that's opposing us. My hunch is they'll pick the latter, but that will be the decisive moment of his domestic presidency.
Yeah, I mean, look, Newt Gingrich had a rough week last week, though, because, you know, he says that at the end of the fact that he had said on NPR, that drain the swamp stuff was a campaign thing. Donald Trump maybe didn't really mean it. Donald Trump wasn't happy about it, tweeted out, yes, I did mean it, and then Gingrich
by the way,
backpedaled.
he definitely said it because Corey Lewandowski sat right there and said, yeah, that's like 8 or 9 on his priority list. And then Donald Trump pushed back and said, it's still top, so we don't know what the truth is. But since just by trying to drain the swamp, you're draining. When it comes to the evangelical vote, people point out that Donald Trump is not known for being a very religious person, like George W. Bush was known for that. And they said, why was he so attractive to the religious vote, no matter what you are, especially the evangelical vote, which might have delivered him in the presidency, plus he won the Catholic vote by 7 points. So Jerry Falwell Jr., who's president of Liberty, said this to Chris Wallace yesterday. Listen.
He made it very clear who his Supreme Court picks would be if he was elected. I think that was a big factor. Some of the social conservatives on the platform committee, the Republican National Convention, told me that not since 2004 has any Republican candidate allowed them to set the platform without interference. But Donald Trump was the first one who had done that in a long time.
So when he said he loved the Bible, when he said, you know, it's his favorite book, only above
Art of the Deal.
Art of the Deal.
Yeah, said that.
But then people say, wow, what's your favorite passage? He's like, I like them all. So when people say, well, he's not really as religious as
That's what I say about your book.
Right?
Yeah,
I like them all.
I talked to her last hour, and she is someone that advises him, someone that he calls all the time. She spoke to him yesterday as an example. She said not a lot of people know this side of President-elect Trump, but he's actually a very religious person.
Spiritual, he calls himself, right?
Spiritual person, which can mean a lot of things. And for many people, religion is a very private thing. Something they don't talk so openly about, but
it might
it
be
does
something he
impact
weaves
their
into
life.
his inaugural address in terms of how it.
So he went
guides
to
him.
church on Christmas Eve and got a standing ovation. He went in with Melania. The church that he got married in Florida back in 2005, a church with a lot of meaning for him. But obviously that's going to play a role in his presidency, as it does for anyone who's in that office.
Right, and you talk about playing a role. That's the role we asked Lisa Booth to play. And sometimes she says yes, sometimes she talks to her, and she says
I'll
no.
be part of the
Lisa, we asked you to give us the updates of the news, and you could reject our overture, or you could accept it. Do you accept it or reject it?
Of course I accept it. I would never reject you, Brian.
All right, thank you.
All right, well, sad news out of Michigan. Overnight, a desperate situation for people forced from their homes on Christmas is getting worse by the hour. A sinkhole opening up in a suburban Detroit neighborhood is threatening nearly 24 homes. Crews are working around the clock, but say it could be weeks before people can go home. At least one of those homes is severely damaged. A faulty sewer line may be to blame. School shootings have become a disturbing reality. Now one college is arming professors to help stop an active shooter, and a sheriff's department is helping make it happen. Police officers in Polk County, Florida, will train faculty at Southeastern University to carry concealed weapons. The president of the college joined us earlier to explain why.
We are being very intentional in creating safety and security, and our students absolutely are grateful for us. Very parents bring their students on our campus to check out the university. The number one question: what are you doing to take care of our sons and our daughters?
The program includes completing 100 hours of firearm safety. And this aide, we all know, who will write President-elect Trump's inauguration speech. It's aide Stephen Miller. The 31-year-old has written both of Trump's prepared speeches this year, including his RNC acceptance speech, border security of the issues that are expected to be in his January 20th address. Miller will be a senior policy advisor for the Trump administration. Christmas may be over, but there's still someone who needs a miracle this holiday. Jessica Scott is fighting a grueling uphill battle. Doctors found a hole in her heart 12 years ago. Now she's in a medically induced coma, fighting infections from her second double lung transplant. Her family launching a GoFundMe page to help with the mounting medical bills. Last hour, just after our story aired, someone made a generous donation of $10,000. If you can help, go to our website, foxandfriends.com. And those are your headlines.
That is very generous, Lisa, and we're glad that you brought us that story. But it's really remarkable.
Thank you, Lisa. Right, it was the only thing better than the Christmas meal itself is feasting, of course, on leftovers the next day.
Right, let's take a foreshot now. So what's new on that menu for today's After Christmas special? Chef Mark Tafoya is here to show us what we can do with our leftovers.
Yes.
Hey, Mr. Chef.
Nice to see you guys.
Smells good in
yeah,
here.
so we're getting going.
Where do we begin?
Well, here's the thing. So watch, you got a lot of turkey left over from Christmas.
Thanksgiving?
Right? Yeah. No, hopefully not Thanksgiving, right? But I like to start with a good product, obviously.
Okay.
Right? So you got your wonderful turkey. Hain Celestial has an incredible brand from Plainville Farms. No, they don't feed it any added antibiotics, anything like that. So it's a good quality ingredient, right?
They let their nose run.
Yeah, they just let them do what they right. So the day after, you don't want to eat the same Christmas leftovers again. So we're going to give it a different flavor profile. So we got some chili over here.
A little twist.
Yeah, a little turkey black bean
so
chili.
This is turkey chili.
Yeah.
And
you can,
turkey made from the night before.
Yeah, exactly, right. And so you got your little tortilla cups. So the simple thing about this is one of those things you can throw it in the crock pot and forget it, right? You got your onion, peppers, garlic. You saute that up, throw that in the crock pot, and then all the other ingredients you just dump in.
But yet I still have food left, and we have other things to make. We can
absolutely.
Make. What can we do?
So here we go. Watch. I'm going to have you help me with this.
What is this called?
So this is going to be for the turkey a la king.
Okay.
Okay. So we're going to start with some butter. Okay, and it's kind of hot. So we're going to immediately the celery. Yeah.
Just trying to help.
And a little peppers, right?
All right.
And then we're going to give that a stir.
Okay.
Okay. Now this. There we go.
Look at you.
That's the start of it, right?
I wish I could do that.
Now we're gonna. I've got this already made here. This is ready to go. So now to thicken this up, here's the thing. We're gonna get in our turkey, and we're gonna add in our peas, right? And then this is the great thing, right? A lot of times, recipes that are thickened start with a roux.
Right.
We're not gonna do that. We are gonna make a slurry. So here's some chicken. Stock,
right,
and a little bit of flour, right? Makes it really simple.
All right.
That's all it is. It's chicken stock.
Yeah, chicken stock and flour.
That, or are you
gonna get okay? Right. So we're gonna throw that in, and then as that comes to the boil, the flour is gonna thicken up.
Should
right.
I put this more in then? Do we?
Yeah, add it in. Finish it up. There you go. You're like abundanza, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, throw in the peas, right? So that's going to thicken up nicely. We're going to add a little milk.
It's gorgeous recipes up here.
So here we go. I'm just going to show you over here. So we've got some turkey pasta primavera, right? So again, like I said,
colorful and beautiful.
Yeah, we want to have different flavor profiles, right? So this is like a spring kind of profile. There's asparagus, there's some different colored peppers, and some basil. Our church canopy people come especially
spilling all over this.
Oh yeah, it's okay. Yeah, you know, you can be messy in the kitchen, right? You got somebody to clean up.
So utilize the leftovers. So when they at the end of the day, who wants to take this with you? Take it with you because you can do more with it.
For sure. Yeah. So we got a lot of great things to do with Plainville Farms Turkey.
Chef, we appreciate it. Mark Tafoya.
Thank you.
All right, Mark, nice to see you.
All right, dig in.
All right, okay. We will, and more importantly, the crew will. And a fed crew is a happy crew. All right, 19 minutes before the top of the hour.
President Obama facing backlash from members after
rounds one. They don't have to go the entire offseason growing his beard. We'll talk to him this morning. See what he looks like.
Thanks for coming in.
And Fox 8 weatherman Scott Sable made a vow to not shave until the Cleveland Browns won a game. They finally won 2017 over the San Diego Chargers. Scott is slowly shaving his beard this morning. Sable posting this update minutes ago. He's got the beard down to his best President Chester A. Arthur impression right now. Good job. He's ready. He's ready for 1880.
Fun stuff. Now time to turn to the sobering reality of what happened at the UN. Members of President Obama's own party now outraged over his refusal to back America's greatest ally, Israel, in Friday's vote on that big resolution at the UN. Our next guest is one of them. Joining us now to react, Democratic California Congressman Brad Sherman. We appreciate you being here.
Good to be
Happy
with you.
Holidays as well. Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah. I wonder what you think was behind this, because we had Alan Dershowitz the last hour, and he said he sat down with President Obama in the Oval Office years ago, and he said, I'll always have Israel's back. Alan Dershowitz said he didn't know he meant stab Israel in the back.
I think this is more of a party than the in this. I've been urging the administration to declare before the election that they wouldn't do this. It would have helped us a little bit. And it's not as significant. First, legally, it's under Article 6 rather than Article 7 of the UN Charter. And it's a repetition of the 1979 resolution. So publishing it again may be politically significant.
Sure.
But it has no legal
But it's happened in the context of just weeks before Donald Trump takes over.
Mm-hmm.
And President Obama could have gone out the door supporting Israel. He chose a much different path.
Yeah, and at the same time, he's reacting to the appointment of David Friedman as the next ambassador.
Hardliner.
And that appointment may turn out to be as harmful in the other direction as letting this resolution go in the UN.
Because one of the things that he wants to do is move the capital of Israel to Jerusalem.
The capital's always been Jerusalem. We ought to move our embassy to Jerusalem. Sure. The
Embassy,
site
rather,
which
yeah.
I visited that the Israelis have had for our embassy has been Israeli territory since 1948.
Right.
It's not controversial.
So let's talk about this. How come, for the most part over the last 8 years, the congressional voice has not been heard? The Senate, the House. You've made this clear. Senator Schumer's not happy. Clear leader in the House. Do you feel as though this White House just been ignoring you guys?
Well, they have a bit of a different approach. They do listen. I've been there often, talked to the president often.
Is this personal? In your opinion?
I think it's ideological, not personal, but the personalities have not helped.
Right, Obama and Netanyahu. So let's look forward. I mean, we've heard this, but do you see anything positive coming out of this? You're clearly not a supporter of President-elect Donald Trump, but does he have an opportunity here to try for Mideast peace in the days ahead?
We're always going to try toward Mideast peace. Under this president, we may have given too much solace to the Palestinians to make them think that they're going to get every square inch of the West Bank in their new state. And now the appointment of David Friedman may cause some on the Israeli right to get the wrong impression and think that they can get we need compromise. We need to be pushing both sides toward compromise.
A couple more questions. Number one, do you feel if Hillary Clinton was about to become president that he would have felt, the lame duck president would have felt an urgency to do this?
There were rumors he was going to do it either way, but I think it would have been much less likely. I think Hillary would have been much more influential. You remember Trump asked him not to do this. I'm sure a Hillary request would have been taken a lot differently. And also, you wouldn't have had a David Friedman appointment. This is, in some ways, a snapback to what Trump has already done in foreign policy, and that is appoint somebody who seems to be opposed to a
And this
two-state
White House
solution.
has been saying, look, one president at a time, and that Donald Trump should have stayed out of the way. Again, you're no supporter of Donald Trump, but are you glad that he, at least as the incoming president, stood up for Israel? Is that a good sign?
I think Trump's position on the resolution made a lot more sense, but Trump's appointment of a anti-two-state solution ambassador to Jerusalem, and it should be Jerusalem, is a mistake on the other side.
Congressman Brad Sherman from California. We appreciate you being here. Thank you.
So you are for moving the embassy?
Always have been.
Great.
Up next, Christmas coming a little early for one deputy in need. We have this heartwarming story. His fellow officer steps in with a life-saving gift, and they say, Brian, a higher power there intervened.
Yep, both officers will join us next. Plus, several artists won't be performing at President.
We are back with this sweet story. It was the ultimate Christmas that came on the call of duty, Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. Good morning to both of you. Thanks for being here.
Good morning.
All right, so Kevin, start us off with this story because it's a pretty incredible one. It was, 2014 when Darren found out that your kidneys were underdeveloped, and from that point on, he was determined to help you, not just check in to see how you were doing, but to change your life.
Yeah, that's correct. It was in 2014 where Darren found out I was on dialysis. It was due to kidney failure, and he would continuously check up on me. And after some time in 2016, he approached me and wanted to be my donor. He wanted to get tested for it.
Darren, why? A lot of people would ask their friends or their family to say, how are you doing? Is everything okay? They check in and they say, okay, and they'd go on with their day. You were determined to actually change his life. Why? Where did that come from?
Initially, I was like so many others where I said, man, that kind of sucks, and it stayed there for a few years. And then the more I dived into my faith, the more I read some of the stories in the Bible about sacrificial giving. We just celebrated Christmas, and for me, Christ is his life, death, and resurrection is the ultimate gift. And from that, it shows an example of how I should live and provide for my neighbor. And this opportunity kind of pulled on my heartstrings, and I believe that God was directing me, and I decided to reach out to Kevin and try to give him this gift.
It just gives you chills. Such a powerful story. Kevin, how has your life changed since? Because you just had this surgery, right, just a few months ago.
It's about a month ago now. Overall, my health is much, much better. But what I have most now is the time back with my family that I no longer have to spend going to dialysis and regular checkups and things like that. So that's been the biggest change that I've experienced.
And Kevin, you've talked about that too, a higher being being responsible for your life being changed forever now.
That Darren's said that multiple times, and it's definitely, I feel that we may have been put together for this reason.
Well, I'm sure, Darren, he's going to want to sort of pay you back somehow, but that's an impossible task.
No, it's a gift that's freely given, and I'm humbled and honored to be able to do it, and it's been a great journey for, I believe, the both of us.
Well, it's obviously changed Kevin's life, Darren, but just like on Christmas, instead of receiving, giving sometimes is the best gift of all, and that can also change your life.
Yeah, I agree, and this, since the donation, it's all been kind of surreal, I'm elated. I'm happy for it.
Darren or Kevin, any last message? When you have Darren here, anything you want to say publicly to him?
We've discussed it before. I am forever in this man's debt. I am eternally grateful for what he's done for me and my family. And it's hard because thank you just doesn't seem like enough.
Well, I love this story. So powerful, especially during this time of year. Kevin, Darren, thank you for being with us. Thank you for your service as well, both of you.
All right. Thank you very much.
so much.
All right, thank you.
Have a good day. All right, it's a new trend taking the internet by storm. Dads face swapping with their babies. Take a look at that. But what does it look like when we here on the Curvy Couch do the face swap? We are about to find out, and it could get creepy.